5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5,
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Web Boxing 101. Happy Thursday night to everybody out there. I'm your host, Luis Trevino, also known as Tree, coming to you by way of the Warriors Edge Boxing Gym Promotions installation in El Paso, Texas. So glad you can be with us. And we have a big show for you guys. So it's Canelo Jacobs fight weekend. We're getting ready for that. That's exciting. That's what we're going to be talking today on the show. We'll also have the infamous, the legend, the legendary Thomas McKay, also known as the Wizard. We'll be having him on the show today. It'd be interesting to see what he has to say. So those are the two big things on the podcast. And before we get started, folks, don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. Go to YouTube. On the search block, put a Web Boxing 101 and subscribe. And we're on air live every Thursday at 8 p.m. Some days we'll go on. We did on a Saturday before. It all depends on the schedule. For the most part, we're on Thursday evenings with special guests every Thursday. We're talking about boxing. It's Boxing Talk 101 with the men and women that know boxing. I'm just here to stream it to you guys, to give you the information. What do I know? But it's the people like McKay's, like the Vicencios, like our LBC, like the Herman Delgados, like the Joseph Sullivans that know boxing, that we want to stream it to you guys and get you the right information, both in the amateur world and pro. So glad you could be with us, folks. I also want to give a shout out to all my the sheriff's officers cadets. They're going to be graduating tomorrow. A big congratulations to all the 12 of them. The Desert Enforcers, they'll be graduating tomorrow. They've got a 2-month academy, pretty hardcore academy, and they did a 5K run today in lieu of the Corrections Officers Week that's going to start next week. They did it today. So a big thanks to them and a big shout out to the Desert Enforcers of the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, and a big shout out to everybody from the El Paso County Sheriff's Office, men and women that put their lives on the line day in and day out, both in the facilities and in patrol. Big shout out to all of you guys. Well, before we get started and get to our co-host, I want to make sure that this year Warriors Edge Boxing is going racing. That's right. Web Boxing is going racing in 2019. The driver, Brandon Shore of the number 21 Sprint car, is being sponsored by Western Technical College and your friends here at Warriors Edge Boxing, racing in the Power Sprint Car League and the American Sprint Car Series. And it's about to get underway, racing at the Vado Speedway Park, that beautiful park that we have in Vado, New Mexico. So race fans, get out there. When the season starts, we'll have a lot of more information. And what's going to be so cool, you'll see them fly by, hopefully in first place. And we know Brandon's going to be winning the championship. But Warriors Edge will be in the checkered flag state when he crosses by. So it's going to be so cool seeing Warriors Edge banner logo on the car as he races to this season's to victory. So I wanted to point that out. A big shout out to Brandon out there as well. All that race team out there as well. So we're not only doing boxing, we're introducing all kinds of stuff. So folks, like I said, we got Mr. Thomas McKay in studio. Thomas, good evening. So glad you could be with us, and thank you for coming, Thomas.
It's a nice pleasure to be here, Luis. Really a pleasure. I've known you for a while, but this is a real pleasure, and thank you very much.
Well, Tom, I mean, you're the cream of the crop when it comes to boxing. You came into the boxing gym right now, and all the kids gravitated to you, folks. And Tom, you're 85.
Close. Nearly 85.
You're in 84?
Yes,
and let me tell you, man, we had never seen somebody hit the speed bag like you did. And mitt work. What? I mean, I think you found the fountain of youth.
Yes, I'm married to a nice young woman. 30 years ago.
Wow, man. Yeah, so Thomas makes, and you're going to be with us all throughout the evening. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff. So let's get right into it. Before we even start asking you questions, folks, like I said, this is Canelo weekend. Jacobs weekend too, right?
Yes.
This is the Canelo. They had the press conference today. World champions Daniel Jacobs and Canelo Alvarez faced off one last time before they go into the ring till Saturday night. Saturday night for their WBC, WBA, and IBF middleweight unification fight on Saturday in Las Vegas. right? Canelo stated, and he quotes that we're just getting ready for Saturday. And I'll repeat to you, I'm ready to continue writing history. And he says he's a fighter that's fought all the styles, and he has. When he says he's fought all the styles, Canelo's fought all the styles. He's fought every fighter that has different styles. From Mayweather, Amir Khan gave him a little bit of show, right? James Kirkland, the Mandingo Warrior, gave him some power. And then he faced Triple G, and he has faced pretty much everybody. What do you think, Tom?
Very simple. Triple G won that fight.
Okay, which fight?
The one with Canelo.
They fought two.
They call it a draw. However, yes,
the first fight. Yeah, we all saw Triple G winning. And what did you see on the first fight, Tom?
well, it was a very good fight, to say the least. However, Triple G, we know, has been suspended for steroids.
Who was this?
Canelo has been suspended for steroids or other use. He was suspended.
This is for the second fight, Tom.
Yes.
Okay.
But that's if you get caught. I've been in this game a while, I know. So if you get caught, there's some locals that I know of, and one I helped train also did that, but he never got caught. But
so if they don't get caught, does it make it right?
It doesn't make it right, because a guy that's natural, like when I grew up in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s, the fighters there, you had to just be mean as hell and ready to go. And you didn't have any other help other than your body and the great training.
Okay, so Tom, let me go back. Let me rewind. You said that, and I saw also Triple G winning the first fight against Canelo. So you think Canelo was juicing already in that fight, or he's been? Let me ask you: do you think the fighters are already juicing until they get caught?
Absolutely, many, of course. I'm not kidding you. I've been around Paul Kleinheit and the Joe Frazier gym, so I know some of these people. Matter of fact, Mr. Kleinheit had Randall Tex Cobb after Robert Nava, who just retired. He's a martial artist who just retired as vice president of UTEP a while back. Robert Nava and I put on the first ever full contact show of boxing and martial arts in El Paso's history in 1975. Randall Cobb, beat my super heavyweight champion, David Ochoa, who, when I coached football at Austin High School, was also the linebacker I coached. So I took some of my football players to the Golden Gloves, and they won. But David Ochoa was a damn good one. David Ochoa was a really good one. So David Ochoa was also a martial artist with Rick Reyna. Okay,
and folks, in case you didn't know who Thomas McKay was, and he's going to give us the official introduction, he's a United States Marine Corps veteran. He's also a El Paso police officer veteran, and right now he's currently the El Paso Hall of Fame president for the Boxing and Hall of Fame. So that's who we're talking to. So okay, let me rewind here, Tom. So we're talking about the first fight of Canelo and Triple G. So we thought Triple G won the fight, and I did too. So this is what Canelo also said. He said he's going to knock him out. And if it's there, trust me, I'm going to go for the knockout. Canelo's going to go for the knockout. I really believe that in this fight that he's coming up, he is the stronger fighter. He said, I don't care if he's bigger. And Jacobs is bigger. It's never bothered me. And Canelo says it's never bothered him, the size. I have the capability. And I really believe, Tom, look, besides of what you said, and he's whatever he got caught the last time because of the tainted meat. It was meat that was tainted, and it's also bothered other fighters that they know they've taken this that meat from down south. I don't know. He has the experience to overcome. Now, on the other hand, let me see what Jacob said. What Jacob said on the press conference, right? He said that I'm going to talk inside the ring. Jacob hasn't spoken too much. I haven't done a lot of trash talk, right? He's going to say, let my fighting speak for itself. Let's put on a good show, my brother. That's what he told Canelo. He's being the sportsman, and we'll take the win simply. Let me ask you something, Tom. Do you think fighters, when they do like they're sportsmen and they're not talking a lot of trash, does that mean that they're not showing fear, or do you rather have a fighter be trash talking and telling, I'm going to knock you out?
Well, you know that I was the trainer of David Rodriguez for 10 years.
Okay.
And he knocked everybody out.
He knocked who out?
An amateur and pro.
Okay. Okay.
Am I okay?
Yeah, you're great. But we're talking about the Jacobs.
Yeah, I'm coming back to that. I was just averting because David Rodriguez 34-0 as a heavyweight, ranked 5th and 8th in the world WBA, WBC. But he knocked everybody out in 33 out in the first round. He was a super under Louis Burke of Las Cruces, New Mexico, as his trainer there. I took him back twice during that time. Took him back twice, and he won championship. But I did not get to go with him. But nevertheless, he got in trouble one night partying.
Okay.
Got his throat cut. Career over.
Okay. So so going back to the trash talk, do you think Jacobs is not trash talking? Is that an advantage to him, or does a fighter need to trash talk? And we'll go back to David Rodriguez because that's an interest.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff for you in training David Rodriguez. So what do you think of?
Here's my real simple opinion. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think these two men are both pretty well qualified, and I don't know what Jacobs has physically altogether, but I know he's one great, fantastic fighter. I'm going to tell you something. I'll teach everybody. The loser's a hell of a fighter.
Why is that?
You don't get there by not being a winner.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, Jacobs didn't get there, but not being a winner. Jacob has a belt, and Canelo's going to unify those belts. But so going to the second fight, Canelo clearly beat Triple G. Why?
It was very close. Very close. Yeah, very close. However, we have to remember that back to this fight here with Jacobs. Jacobs is very capable of whipping Canelo, but I have to tell you the truth.
He's very capable.
I have to tell you the truth, Luis. Saturday afternoon, my number one sport is going to be the Kentucky Derby. I used to be a groom for horses. In Caliente, Mexico.
You used to groom horses,
Yeah,
so you're not gonna see the fight.
I'm gonna watch both.
You're gonna watch both, right? You're gonna have two TVs, right? The Kentucky Derby, that's the big one, right?
Yeah, sir.
So now that we're at the Canelo fight, who do you think is gonna win, Canelo or Jacobs?
Say again.
Who do you think is gonna win the Canelo fight or Jacobs?
I don't know. I do not know. I think I'm gonna enjoy the fight though, to watch it.
You're gonna enjoy the fight.
Yes, I hope so. I hope it goes to full length. I want to enjoy the fight.
Well, I think I'm gonna go with Canelo. I think Canelo's just too strong. I think Canelo, after what he showed against Triple G, if we have the same Canelo Alvarez that showed up on the last fight against Triple G, because he fought a human sacrifice the last time, no one. But if he shows up prepared the way he showed up against Triple G, he's easily gonna beat Jacobs. I think he's gonna hurt him with body shots. I really look, man. I wasn't a big Canelo fan. I kind of upset when he tested positive for sports enhancing drugs or whatever it's called. I don't like cheaters. But you know what? I guess he cleaned up his act. He came back. They punished him, whatever, and then he came back and he fought a superb fight. He said he did what he said he was going to do. He stood in the middle of the ring and fought Triple G. On the other hand, I really believe, Tom, that Triple G coming into the fight had already problems with his corner. I kind of saw that, and lo and behold, what happens recently? 2 weeks ago, last week, Triple G detached from his trainer, from Abel Sanchez. They're gone. They have issues, and I think that was a big thing coming into the fight when they both had problems, and when the fighter is probably having problems with his coaches, he's not gonna have a great fight. So again, that's what it was all about. So we'll get back to more of a Canelo and Jacobs as we go along the show, okay? Because it is a big fight weekend. It's in Las Vegas. Do you think that being in Las Vegas, do you think that Jacobs has a disadvantage?
I don't think Jacobs ever has a disadvantage. I think he's going to put on a great show. I think we're looking for one of the great fights of the century.
Wow.
Because they're both so talented.
They're real talented.
They're both so talented. They have skills galore.
What is the big stronghold for Jacobs?
Endurance.
He has a lot of endurance. He got knocked down against Triple G.
Yes, but endurance, he came back.
He came back and he fought him very good. I actually thought he won by 1 point. I actually had Jacobs winning, but that knockdown.
I'm a different type of boxing trainer. They both won. regardless of the
Okay.
decisions. When you go 12, 15 rounds, you can do that for a championship or other fights, elimination. You're a champion. I don't care who wins or loses.
Wow. Let me ask you now. Let me go back to the heavyweight David Rodriguez. You trained David Rodriguez, right?
From age from age 7 all the way to age 17, and then came back twice as a pro. Took him back twice as a professional. He is one gallant fighter. His only mistake is he got so good, so darn good, exquisitely good, that he forgot to train as hard as he could for conditioning for the long run. But he knocks everybody out in the first or second round.
Okay, Tom, let me ask you a question that people have asked about David Rodriguez. Who has he fought, known fighter?
Well, I didn't.
And that's what people wanted to know, and they never gave this guy. A lot of people didn't give him credit that much.
Well, today I'm not prepared to go through his whole list.
I know, but I mean, a lot of people were saying, did he fight the big names? And we were thinking of the Chris Arreola fights, Evander Holyfield fights.
Yeah.
I mean,
but David beat I'll think in a minute. Number 8 in the world. How do you think he got to be ranked number 5 by the WBC?
Yeah, no, that's right.
And 8 by WBC, and undefeated, and ready for a title fight when he got his throat cut in Arizona.
In Arizona.
3:00 in the morning.
Yeah, he was an El Paso heavyweight. He put El Paso on the map in some of the fights, right?
Well, he's the NABJ champion. He's a Mexico WBC champion. He won championships that nobody else has ever won. Not even. I'll tell you who was probably better. I want to make a comparison. Adolfo Quijano was only 175 pounds.
And where's Adolfo Quijano from?
El Paso. First California, then here. And Adolfo Quijano won 68 fights, only lost 4. As a light heavy champion and heavyweight champion in Texas. But he fought Joy Maxim, all these guys, right to the end of the line. And he fought, he was on 170 pounds, he fought heavyweight. So I consider him one of the greatest fighters of all El Paso's history.
Wow.
David Rodriguez is a natural 260-pound heavyweight.
Wow. Well, folks, I mean, we're in for a good night with Thomas McKay. I mean, interesting of all your stories, of all everybody's training. So we're just getting started. Things are heating up. So once in a while, Tom, what we'll go to the live chats. Margarita Fuentes, all the way from East Texas, saying hello to everybody out there, and she's always listening to us. It says hello here every Thursday. Cadet Alejandro Marquez says, hoo, class 1901, Desert Enforcers. Mr. Ochoa, Tom, may God continue blessing you, from Mr. Ochoa. Thank you for the love you have for all the kids. That's what they're saying. Peter Santiago said that Triple G won the first fight guaranteed, and we agreed with him, right?
Yes.
He was robbed. Silva said it was a draw. Both had their moments on the first fight. It was a draw. Wow. Okay. Adrian Pineda said Canelo, and I'm pretty sure that Pineda is going to say that Canelo will win this Saturday. And then we're going to go back here. Hugo Macia says Canelo hands down. Silva said it's going to be a close fight. Jacobs gave Triple G a run for his money. Silva, you're right. And we're talking about that when Jacobs fought Triple G, he did give him a run for his money. And I thought he won the fight, Tom. Adrian Pineda came back and he says that I agree it's going to be a good fight. And he'll probably give the same to Canelo. Jacobs will give the same to Canelo, folks. Thanks for live chatting with us. Tom, going back to Tom, tell us about yourself growing up in El Paso, or where are you from, Tom?
I was born in October 2nd, 1934 in Balmaray, Texas, population 400. The Great Depression had wiped out our family little ranch. My mother had 5 children. My father got in trouble. She divorced him. We moved to El Paso with some friends to help us out. We were broke, had no money, no nothing, zero. Sadly, there was 5 of us, so my mother placed 3 of us, including me, my sister Ann, and Vernon, in St. Margaret's Orphanage Home at Valdespino and Alameda in 1942, World War II. So, but my brother, Bud, was 13 years old. He became a jockey at Cowboy Park. At Cowboy Park, at age 13, he was a quarter horse rider. He beat everybody in a year to where he was so good. He was so good that Judge Lanier of the city court in El Paso and the big family in New Mexico, even today in New Mexico racing, his family's number one. Judge Lanier put my brother on his quarter horses, and he never lost. So in over a year's time, a year and a half, my sister went to work ironing clothes and doing dishes, and my brother Claire and my brother Bud and my mother got doing some work and got saved the money to get us out of the orphanage home. So then we moved. I went to Burleson, I went to Alta Vista, I went to Austin High School for a little while. My mother got remarried. We went to 720 Upson Street, lived in a basement. But that's where I met Santos Quijano and Dolph Quijano. And Santos was the welterweight champ in Texas. I was shining shoes in the Plaza Park, and then I got a job as a...
How old were you?
13.
You were 13 shining shoes at the Plaza.
At 12 and 13 with Pete Melendez and Jake Martinez, by the way. And
the great late Jake Martinez, man.
Yes, I did the eulogy for him. His mother's Susana, is the governor of Mexico. But anyway, back to there. The Pick and Shovel opened up a restaurant for Texas Western kids. So I got the dishwashing job. I was going to El Paso High now in Low Ninth. I got the dishwashing job at the Pick and Shovel from 4 to 12 midnight for 75 cents a day. But the good news, George Hirsch, a friend of mine I met in Sunset Heights, who became head of the United States Customs later on. Louis Casillas, that became very famous in El Paso's history. They were kids with me going to El Paso High. But they told me I had to be initiated to El Paso High. Well, I'm in the orphanage home. I never heard of initiation, or at Alta Vista, or at Austin. But they said I needed to be initiated. I said, how's initiation? They said, you need to fight somebody. We'll pick up a guy. So I said,
so you had no knowledge of boxing, right?
Nothing.
You just want, okay.
So they hooked me up against a guy. I'll tell you his initials FM, and he was a JO champion. He was 15 years old. He was a junior Olympic champion. So his parents, his step-parents were very, very wealthy. They had a big, beautiful palace in Sunset Heights. So we had to climb two steps of walls to fight on the sidewalk and front porch. So I fought him, and I didn't throw probably a single punch the first 3 minutes, but he wasn't hurting me. I was used to some rough street fighting. So I started fighting.
You were used to some rough street fighting because where you grew up?
Out of the orphanage home in Washington Park with the horsemen and their children, quarter horses racing, old Cowboy Park. Yes. So I just opened up what I could, and I kicked his rear end.
Wow.
So the following Sunday.
So that started your boxing?
No.
Okay.
The following Sunday, we didn't have any beds. We'd had army cots and army blankets. We were too poor. 720 Upson Street. All of us. So one Sunday morning after I got off work at midnight on Saturday, I was sleeping about 8:30 when my mother came to me and said, there's a very good-looking man here that wants to talk to you at our screen door. So I got up and went to see who it was. It was Santos Quijano, the welterweight champion of Texas. He wanted to train me, but I told him my work schedule 6 days a week. I'm only off on Sunday. Well, believe it or not, he became like I adopted him as my father, stepfather. I adopted Santos. He started training me. On Sunday mornings at this Catholic youth organization, CYO. So I only got 1 day a weekend of boxing. But Santos, all my life, was dear to me, more dear than my father could ever be.
Wow! And he started you on your road to boxing.
Yes.
All right, so you get into that. Did you have any amateur fights?
I had 6 fights, but none of them were recorded because I trained 1 day a week. But then my stepfather.
Where would you train at?
Where did I train at? I trained the old CYO, and then San Juan.
What's CYO?
Catholic Youth Organization.
Okay.
Yes.
And San Juan.
Yes. And then Pampa, Texas, under Ollie Wilhelm. Then when what happened? I got to tell you, I broke off there, and I passed there when I met Santos. I was with him for about a year, 1 day a week. But my stepfather, who was my mother had married, he was a brother in the St. Joseph's Catholic Church. So when he married my mother, we got kicked out of the projects and sent to Upson Street. But he got a job in Pampa, Texas, so we moved to Pampa, Texas, up in there high north by Oklahoma, cold country. And I got a job delivering newspapers and met Ollie Wilhelm. And again, I'm working 7 days a week.
Five, four, three, two, 1, 0. Five, four, three, two, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. One, 0. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 3, 2, 1, 0.
All right, we're back. Sorry about that, folks. Technical difficulties. Talking to the great Thomas McKay. All right, Tom, tell us a little bit about your years.
I think that's the best of Texas. That's the best of all of them. The police department in 1960. A great 11 years on the police department, but in 1968, I fulfilled a promise I made in the Marine Corps to become a science teacher and have time for coaching.
Oh, you were a science teacher.
Yes, biology, honors biology, and biochemistry. So I got my, in 1971, I graduated from UTEP as a top 10 senior. Meanwhile, I had a boxing gym on Airways.
Yeah, and what was the boxing gym called?
At Eastside Boxing Club. Eastside Boxing Club. And I had Able Pest Control Company. I studied through Purdue to make more money for my family. I had two
trucks. Did you study entomology?
Yes. Oh,
the
yes,
study
sir.
of bugs?
Through Purdue University. Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. And I had my own pest control company. I had to get Texas license. I had my Able Pest Control. I made 3 times the money there part-time that I made with the police department full-time. But in 68, in 1971, UTEP hired me as sergeant in charge of criminal investigations. At the same time, I got my degree as a top 10 senior. So I worked there for 6 months as sergeant in charge of criminal investigations.
Wow.
Okay, and then Chief Paul Petzold left town, and I was made interim chief of police. As interim chief of police, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at the situation, I had to bust a few of the top athletes at UTEP, or Texas Western, or UTEP, you want to call it, UTEP, and put them in jail.
You put them in jail?
Yes, sir.
Why?
Some very serious stuff I don't want to discuss on the air right now.
Wow.
However, it was so serious that some of the parents did not want to be involved, so the charges were dropped, most of them. I witnessed I witnessed a serious attack, a sexual attack.
How old were you when you started the PD?
When I started PD, I was 19. That was 1960. I was 36 years old, 34.
Wow, and I'm pretty sure you know that policing has changed a lot, huh?
Yes, somewhat, but I'm proud of that. I'm proud of our police department. I'm proud of our city.
I'm proud of our city and the police department.
Remember, when I formed the Hall of Fame in 1993, I started the Hall of Fame, my idea. We got together, everybody. Sheriff Mike Sullivan joined us, too.
Wow, yeah, the Sheriff Mike Sullivan. Now, let me ask you a question, Tom. How did you get started with the Hall of Fame? And you know, folks, Tom McKay is the president of the El Paso Boxing Hall of Fame. So how did you get started with the Hall of Fame, Tom?
Well, back in 1992, I was getting a haircut from three-time former national champion Pete Melendez, who I shined shoes with. Only won 300 fights is all he won. But Pete Melendez, our great Pete Melendez, I talked to Pete, why isn't there a Hall of Fame for you to be in? How about Jake Martinez? We were Marine Corps together. How about Sammy Burke out of Las Cruces, Marine Corps? We're all Marines. How come we don't have a Hall of Fame? So we hooked up. We got Ted Houghton, my banker, ABC Bank.
Okay.
And we got Santos, Dolph Quijano, Rocky Burke, a bunch of people. Sammy Burke, right before he died, Rocky Burke, Santos Quijano, Dolph Quijano, a bunch of people together. And we decided to help and form the El Paso Boxing and Martial Arts Hall of Fames.
So you formed it in what year?
Yes, sir, 1993.
In 1993, you formed the Hall of Fame. Nothing, and I'm pretty sure other cities have. Did you get the idea from another city, or you just sat there and said you wanted to do a Hall of Fame?
I talked to everybody. Said, so I went and got me a 501c3 from Texas. I got a 501c3 standard Texas, so I could run a business like that, a charity. It was a charity business.
So it was a charity, and you were going to get fighters in there. So, and you all know it's been successful. But tell me something, Tom. How come we haven't heard about the Hall of Fame in El Paso in the last 5 years or so? Because, you know, I'm in this business and I hear about it because I know you and I know Junior and I know everybody in the boxing, so I kind of know about it. But how come people don't know about it? If I asked regular businessmen down the street, and I've asked people, they really don't know. Why do people, or why is the Hall of Fame so prestige that it is, and you put so much work into it, Mr. McKay? Why hasn't it been? Why don't we hear it as much?
Okay, first I got to make a statement. One reason I formed it was because I had a son named Leslie McKay who had a form of leukemia, and I wanted to help raise money for kids with cancer.
Wow, man!
So I got the Candle Ladders of El Paso out of Loretta Academy. The Candle, all the money we made in the Hall of Fames, 50% went to them. And
to the foundation.
To help children with cancer. To help the children with cancer. My son Les was given last rites. He was given last rites. I stopped it and got other doctors. All he did was become an 18-0 boxer, never lost, and Eastwood, a champion wrestler out of Eastwood, 126-5 wrestling record, undefeated boxer, and invited to the Olympic camp in Arizona back in the day. And I took him to the Olympic camp, even though, sadly, I was divorced. I took him with me to the Olympic camp at about the same time that I started working with Randall Tex Cobb. So I took Les over to the Olympic camp, and he was offered a scholarship with the Olympic coach to go to Cal Poly, where he was, and maybe become an Olympian. Les wanted to go to Texas University, though, and he did, and he's a big shot on the Austin Fire Department now with grandchildren.
Are you serious?
I'm not serious.
How's his health?
Fantastic. He's a stud.
Good. I'm so happy to hear that. And you know what, Tom? I have heard, and when I started hearing about you, and I've known you for a while already, you were the great Tom McKay, but you know what? You're the great Tom McKay because of the boxing and all you've done for El Paso, and you served this community. But you know what? You're the great Tom McKay because you've put all your effort and hard work into people that are fighting a different type of battle, not in the ring, but they're fighting for their lives. The foundation and kids that have leukemia, because how worse is it? I mean, kids that are not going to have a chance in life. So I guess my next question was, what has been your biggest accomplishment? And I think it's going to be that. Tell us a little bit about the foundation and these kids that suffer from leukemia or any type of other cancer?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, because in 1993 and on, for nearly 20 years, you asked me a while ago why there's no Hall of Fame. I have cancer myself. I was given 3 years to live in 1996. I'm at 23 years of hormones and chemo right now. And I hurt. I have all kinds of side effects, holes in my jaws, IBS, heart disease, kidney disease, Parkinson's disease.
And if you see this man, folks, he looks great. I mean, he's hitting the bags. And I think boxing has saved you, and boxing keeps you young, right, Tom?
Well, the Parkinson's 4 years ago hadn't bothered me yet. I work out every day.
Is that the key?
That's one of the keys. I like to rock and roll. I play rock and roll to my boxing workouts. I go dancing to rock and roll every weekend, especially bands We Before and the Bird Dogs.
The Bird Dogs.
And We Before. Oh, boys, We Before. But nevertheless, let's get back to the Hall of Fame. In 1903, we had great. You see my ring on my hand?
Yes.
That's a Hall of Fame ring. You saw the trophies I brought?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and folks, he brought a Mariah. He bought all kinds of stuff. He brought medals, and I wish you could see him, man. He bought posters. He brought trophies. Okay.
Yeah, and I write a 60 to 70 page. Excuse me. I write a 60 to 70 page booklet for every Hall of Fame. For 20 years, I wrote booklets for the Hall of Fame. 60 to 70 years.
And also, folks, he's the author of The Black Knight of Kickboxing, Cliff Magic Thomas, in Magic, written by Mr. Thomas McKay. So he's written a book. So you're talking about the Hall of Fame. So the Hall of Fame was actually formed also, but to help kids with cancer, correct?
Absolutely. And let me tell you what we did at the banquets. We boxers and we martial artists are great people and most of them are honorable, not just great. But because the kids with cancer have such a short lifespan, most of them, we invited their parents to take the first tables at our banquet. They take the first tables. We set their parents and their kids first, before the boxers. And then we have a great dinner and feed them, and we give awards to the kids with cancers as well, to the boxers and martial artists.
Wow. And you know what, Tom? I mean, you give these honors to these kids that they're probably not going to have a chance. And I know one time we sat down and you told me that one of the saddest things is that a lot of kids get nominated for the Queen and King and they don't make it to that, right?
Exactly. As a matter of fact, Consuelo Martinez, who's on the cover of one of my books here, that I write for the Hall of Fame booklets. I'll write 20 of those over the years. Consuelo Martinez was 13 years old, liver cancer. She was our queen. She died on my birthday at age 14.
She died at age 14. This was
on my birthday, October 2nd, she died.
And folks, man, that's pretty sad. And I know you've helped a lot of these kids, man. And how that's hard.
It's not. It's worse than that.
It's worse than that.
You got to reach in your heart and ask why. And your mind, why the kids?
Why the kids? Wow, you left me speechless, and it's ever so real and surreal. And you know what, Tom? You do so much stuff for these people. Because of the Hall of Fame, and I hope that in the future there's somebody that can pick up what you did for these kids. So we haven't had a banquet in how many years?
4.
Okay, we haven't had a banquet in 4 years, so who takes care of these kids now?
Well, I've been trying I got to tell you, we have cancer in the family. We have cancer in the extended family. So I've been busy the last 4 or 5 years traveling. Imagine, I've made 100 trips to California for my cancer treatments, LA. And my wife's made many trips to other places. I spent $1,000 a trip. And I got so bad for a while, I did the Hall of Fame. I was the CEO or president 4 times, and the CEO. I did 20 years. I need help for somebody to take over and keep it going. I gave 20 years of my life to this.
And there's nobody in the martial arts that takes over?
Well, we have a great grappling champion 8 years in a row in Las Vegas, and Benny Benavides, but he got injured. And I tried to get him to take over, and he hasn't reported back to me lately. I hope he does. But I need to find somebody and some group like we did the first time. Bankers, other people, business people, sheriffs that really love boxing and the martial arts to have us a banquet sometime this year in October or November.
And you know what, Tom? And I guess it boils down to helping the kids, not just our fighting kids in our program, but helping these kids that have leukemia. sometimes when you walk into the children's hospital and you see these kids battling these vicious cancers, it's surreal, man, and it's you ask yourself, why the kids, man, and you come out of there feeling so lucky because we take things for granted in life.
Well, how lucky am I? Think about it. I was given 3 years to live in 1996. I'm still here. I don't know if I'll be here tomorrow, but I'm here today, and I'm going to make the best of today. That's what I do. I will live one day at a time to make the best of that day and do what I can for people, for my family, for others, and for my country.
And folks, when he said he makes the best of the day, he walked into this gym, and everybody stopped working out. Everybody stopped working out. Everybody gathered around the speed bag platform, and we're going to post it on social media, and he just wailed at that speed bag with lots of energy. I thought he was that 14-year-old boy, shiny shoes, hitting that speed bag. So what a great honor to have you here, Tom. So now let's move on, right? You come from Monterey, Texas. You're in El Paso, very poor kid growing up in central El Paso. He served our country. He's a police officer as well, a retired police officer as well. He's done so many things. His kid, the great story with his kid, he gets into boxing. He starts training kids boxing, and from what I understand, Tom, you train in your backyard, and you still train today.
I just finished before I came here 2 hours today with 3 kids before I came here.
And the kids just gravitate, and I've seen them on social media. They just come to the backyard, huh?
Yes, I try to encourage the kids because of the cost of living nowadays. I try to encourage them to get into college. I have the Ramirez family, Luis and Jorge and them. Kids I've trained 2 or 3 times a week over the years. One of the boys is now in law school at Washington, D.C. Luis, who could be a superstar, probably bantamweight, instead is a junior at UTEP. And they come by, drop by for training all now and then. I have nurses that train with me and had never boxed in their life. Now one girl weighed 250 pounds 3 years ago. She comes twice a week. She's now 175, and she goes dancing with us.
Wow, that's great.
Oh, wait a minute, more. She's Jennifer Hahn's brother's sparring partner.
Oh, wow. And did you train Jennifer Hahn?
I held a miss for a few times, but no, I did not train her.
Oh, okay. And have you and pro fighters? You talked about David Rodriguez. Did you trained?
How about Randall Tex Cobb?
Randall Tex Cobb, heavyweight. That's right.
Well, he's the one that Rick Rayner got him from Robert Nava and myself put on that full contact show at the Coliseum in 1975. He brought Randall Tex Cobb in from Abilene, Texas, because he was a great martial artist, to fight David Ochoa. David Ochoa was a good heavyweight boxer too. So David was whipping Randall's butt good in the first round. But I was working the floor because I was one of the managers of the event. And so I go between round. David hit Randall Tex Cobb with a spinning back fist that would have knocked anybody out. And Randall just stood there. He bled, but he stood there. So I jumped in the corner between rounds. And I told David, don't you ever throw that back fist to get him, man. And I want you to move. That man is a piece of steel. Just hit him and move. You'll win easy. Well, David said, I'm going to knock him out, coach. In the next round, he hit Randall with another spinning back fist and broke Randall's nose. Yeah. But Randall threw an axe kick right from the top of the head, came down and broke David's nose and jaw, fight over. So, but Paul Klein, Randall came to me after the fight. Randall Tex Cobb came to me after the fight because I was the promoter. He said, I need money. My mother has cancer back in Abilene, Texas. I said, well, Paul Klein is in the box office. He's with Joe Frazier and them. I'll introduce you. So I took him to Mr. Kleinite. Mr. Kleinite opened his suitcase, had Randall sign a contract right there, and gave him $5,000 cash.
Wow.
And he moved in with me. I remember I was divorced. I was living at 6333 Wheeling Way, right by the airport. And Randall moved in with me, and I trained him for about 6 months and then sent him off to Joe Frazier's.
The famous Joe Frazier.
He eventually made 34 movies. And that troubled him when he fought Larry Holmes for the heavyweight championship of the world, 15 rounds.
Wow, 15 rounds.
Yeah, 15 rounds. Because he was making movies and he didn't show up in time to Philadelphia to get the proper training in. He still won 15 rounds, but he put on a very poor performance, but a gutty performance, 100% guts.
So tell us about Cliff Magic Thomas. How did he come to your doorstep?
Or Cliff Magic Thomas.
and folks, and Tom, tell us, Cliff Magic Thomas is a professional kickboxer, right?
Cliff Magic Thomas is El Paso's first ever world champion in any combat sport in history. Our second, our third, our fourth, our fifth, and out of retirement for sixth and seventh before Jennifer Hahn got one of the world championship. So Cliff Magic Thomas was devastating. He worked for Rocky Birkenau. He worked with Luis Ramirez. He worked with Herman Delgado. Everybody worked. A lot of people worked with him. I got to work with him.
He was a kickboxer, right?
Well, he came. I was working at the Carolina gym as a coach with Rocky Galarza then. He came to us. So we coached him. Over the years, Ralph Ruiz and other people, Herman, they've trained him. But we trained him. I did the mitts over and over. You saw me.
Yes.
That's what I do. And so I worked him and worked him and worked him. Okay. After he retired and everybody else died or got sick, he wanted to come out for his 7th world championship. So Hilary Sandoval's brother, they were all killed when, you'll see in my book, in chapter 5, he was only 19 years old when he was the youngest champion manager in the world, 19, Tony Sandoval. He was killed in that terrible plane crash in Tennessee. And that's when Cliff fought the king of the blood sport, Paul Vizio, on NBC. But Cliff was going to cancel the fight. He was going to cancel the fight, okay? But he was convinced that he should dedicate it to the fallen ones. Everybody killed in Miss Tennessee was killed in the plane crash. Demetrius Savanas, as middleweight champion of the world, was killed in the plane crash. D.K. Price, the pilot, was a Vietnam pilot. He was killed in the plane crash.
Wow.
So Cliff was going to cancel the fight. But he walked down the boardwalk, got thinking about it, in New Jersey. And Paul Vizio is the greatest name in kickboxing in those days. If he could whip Paul Vizio, he'd be honored forever and ever and never forgotten. Not only he whipped Paul Vizio, Paul had never been down. He knocked him out, but he broke his jaw and put him down 5 times. One of the greatest fights of all time.
And that catapulted Cliff Magic Thomas. And Thomas is El Pasoan, right?
So when I helped train Cliff for that 7th world championship, we got together afterwards. He lives in Fort Worth now.
Oh, yeah,
so we corresponded, and over 2 years, in 2004, I put out the book. But I had cancer so bad I couldn't travel. So we got about 6,000 books. We sold them all. And I made a second edition, a few thousand more. But I could not go to other cities like you do and have book signings because of my cancer.
So let me ask you, is the books, can we still order the book?
I'm going to be ordering some. I'm writing another one right now. In July, I hope to finish.
Of which one?
Of my career and my great fighters I've trained.
So how can people get the Cliff Magic Thomas book if they want one?
Call me, and I'm going to order a few hundred pretty soon.
Okay, where can they call you at? Or
they can call me at 915-226-8147. That's 915-226-8147. Now, I had 2 editions. The original is a black and white, and the second edition is red, white, and blue. The second edition is better edited. The first edition is more heartwarming.
Okay. All right, it was your first book. So it looks like a good book. We have a book here at the gym. It's called Magic, The Black Knight of Kickboxing. And it'll be interesting. I mean, maybe we can get them to get on the podcast here.
Don't forget, nobody should forget. Cliff Thomas went to Bel Air High School.
Yeah, Big Red Pride.
But when he was a young kid, when he was a young boy, very young boy, he had heart disease. They operated on him. He's got 148 stitches across his chest in the form of a cross. Bel Air would not let him play sports because they're afraid something would happen. So the Robert Nava, I told you about earlier, retired as vice president of UTEP, the martial artist, picked him up. And then later he came with boxers.
Wow.
That's how he got started. The 7-time world champion. Born with a hole in his heart and not allowed to play sports in high school.
And he's been an icon here in El Paso. Has El Paso been good to Cliff Magic Thomas throughout the years? Because again, a lot of people these new kids don't know who he is.
It's kind of sad because the media was back in 1980 when he won that first world championship. 1980, the media was everywhere. Everywhere. I mean, Bill Knight, all of them, Ray Sanchez, magazines, everybody was on Cliff Thomas. But the Chinese and the white guys on TV got the glory, where Cliff Thomas got the titles.
Cliff Thomas.
You got to remember, I think we're seeing, I'm going to say it on the air, I think we're seeing a lot of this prejudice and racism coming out of the closet today because of what's going on in this country. Cliff Thomas, back in those days, it just seemed like the Chinese, they're great martial arts, Chinese, but Cliff Thomas was maybe the best kickboxer of all time. I said 7 world championships. in 5 different weight divisions over 22 years.
Has a person like Cliff Magic Thomas, has anything been, besides your book, being written on, named after a street, a school, anything on him here in El Paso?
Not in El Paso.
Wow, that's pretty sad, man.
Finally, in Atlanta, Georgia, where they had the honor of the greatest martial arts of all time, and only about 12 people are in that big Hall of Fame, they finally got Cliff in this year.
Okay, and he's also inducted in the El Paso Hall of Fame?
And I got him in that. But he came to town last year. I think you saw I got the award from the chief of police.
Yes.
Okay, last year, April the 12th, for courage and heroism from
Yes.
Greg Allen. I showed you. Well, Cliff came to town just to be with me to get that award at the police annual banquet.
Wow, that's pretty nice, man. Give our best to Cliff Magic Thomas.
Yes, I'll call him tomorrow.
Wow, yeah, call him, and you can listen to this podcast. It's recorded. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, and I'm sorry about that. So, moving right along, and I don't mean to be rushing, but tell us a little bit about how boxing has changed in El Paso now as it was before.
Well, it's pretty simple on that one. It's pretty damn simple. Kids have what nowadays?
Kids what?
Kids have cell phones.
Okay.
Kids have all kinds of video games. Kids have video games, cell phones, all kinds of materials they have sitting on their ass, on their butts. They're not active, and to be active gets you more. When I grew up, everybody's outdoors. We're doing something outdoor: baseball, basketball, soccer, tennis.
The optimists were real busy.
And we're fit. I don't have my hands on. I use my hands too much.
That's okay.
We're fit. So today, most kids are not fit. Those that do dedicate to going to boxing, martial arts, or whatever, MMA, some of them come from other countries. They're hungry.
They're hungry, yeah, like
And
the
we were
European
hungry.
fighters.
And we were hungry. Remember the Great Depression? The great fighters came out of the Great Depression in World War II. Jack Dempsey, all of them, Gene Tunney, all of them, Joe Louis, you know.
Jack Dempsey.
Oh yes.
So Tom, we talked in the last podcast, or in some of the podcasts that we've had, that should boxing be, to save boxing, and you're right, technology is the other coach that we have to deal with, and it's hard to deal with the technology now because the kids are sitting there playing a game and they don't want to go outdoors or go to the gym.
And television.
And television, yeah, everything's so accessible now. Do you think that that if we introduce boxing into high schools would be a good idea?
I don't think the American Medical Association would approve of that because of the injuries.
Okay, well, there's more injuries in football.
Yeah, I know, but football is the number one pastime.
So it's all politics.
Yes, because
cheerleading is number one in the injuries in sports in high school.
I don't know if you know this or not. At Austin, when I left Marion Manor as a winning coach back in 1971, I went to Austin High School. I got recruited to Austin High School as I was the athletic trainer and the linebacker coach. So I went to Austin High School, and for a few years there, I had to take care of all the injuries on the field and give to the doctors or whatever and do temporary first aid. I did that for a few years too. So that was, I see the injuries in football. Yes. Now boxing, we in amateurs, we use headgear, you know that.
Yeah.
And so that's a good thing. Maybe it wouldn't draw. If we used headgear in pros to protect the brain, it wouldn't work.
Why wouldn't it work?
People wouldn't want to see it with people wouldn't want to see headgear on pros.
No, not in pros, but in high schools.
No, in high school, I'd make them fight with 16-ounce gloves.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we'll try to make it as safe as possible, but to sit here, and you're right, it's an American pastime to sit here and say that, well, it's the injuries. I think that's bullcrap, because, not on your part, boss, but because I think it'll bring back kids into boxing, because we've talked that boxing's taking a back seat. So, in your opinion, do you think El Paso needs to better our amateur program and professional boxing programs?
Well, I wish I had the Hall of Fame money right now. We've had some junior Olympians winning national titles lately. Yeah, we have some great boxers right now out of El Paso, Texas. But they're not getting the media coverage either. They're not getting the full coverage. They're not getting put in nice places when they do for their show.
They're not.
They need to be in the Coliseum or the Don Haskins Center We need backing. We need advertising. We need people who are putting their money into things like the streetcars, millions of dollars into the streetcars, which is a mess.
Nobody writes them.
Anybody making money? But that's big shots. I can't do nothing about them. But if we had that money backing up kids, Don Haskins Center, Plaza Theater, or whatever, let's do it right. Let's don't do it just for certain people.
So you've seen the venues that the local boxing commission has to deal with? Horrendous.
Absolutely.
I mean, this past Golden Gloves, the venue was pretty bad. It was raining. There was leaking. We were at the judging arena.
Yeah, well,
it's old, and that's nothing to do with I think it's because our venues are not. People just don't want to back us up. They want a killing. They want an arm. They'll charge an arm and a leg.
Well, we've been very lucky for years and years. People like Jake Martinez, who's all-service champion, all-Texas champion 3 times, Junior Vicencio, 3-time Texas champion, national runner-up. Oh my God, the Quijanos, Dolphin Santos. Santos Quijano was 48-1 as a pro. And he couldn't get a title fight. And Dolphin Quijano, 84-5. I mean, these people had tremendous record, but they were our heroes. We don't need just boxing, basketball and football and soccer heroes. We need fighting heroes because fighting is the toughest game.
It's the toughest game, and so I guess incredibly it's changed so much, huh?
Absolutely, it's kind of sad because I hate to see my main sport phase out.
And hopefully it doesn't phase out. But you're right. I mean, it's. I wanted to give boxing a voice, and that's why we started the podcast to bring people like you to see, just to pick your brain. But yeah, you're right, man. The venues are not there. They're not there.
And the local support like we used to have.
Or the support. I mean, the city, the it's not there. They don't believe in boxing. They don't believe in, and like you said, and these people want to charge an arm and a leg, man, to put up a nice show, a nice evening of boxing for the kids. I mean, but they don't. They don't. Just imagine. Check out this scenario, Tom. Civic Center. They hardly ever do nothing for. I guess for El Paso. When do you see a show there? I don't know. But just imagine, fight weekend. This is a big fight weekend. What better Civic Center? Hey man, let's have a tournament here Saturday, and then after that we'll have the fights here. Make money, or they'll make money. It's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
But they don't do it.
It seems today that people are more into themselves and into their politics than they are into the goodness of taking care of our world and our future and our city too. The best things for it, including schooling, education, and sports and arts.
I mean, but I think sports is healthy here. If you see football and soccer, but not boxing. It's phasing out, Tom.
I'm just saying though, we need it all.
We need it all,
and we need more, but we need it more elevated to the media and to business people and to ownership of great companies to sponsor these people in the right venues. To be noticed around, not just here, around the state, and maybe around the world.
So you don't think that the media highlights our local athletes as much?
Not like they used to.
I think the front page of the El Paso Times Sports sometimes will have Tiger Woods, and then in the way back in the little corner it'll have what happened at the high school basketball tournament or wrestling it should be the other way around because it's a local newspaper.
Well, it's not like the local newspaper used to be. It's not even. It doesn't have the depth or the amount of coverage. El Paso. We don't have the Herald Post anymore. Yeah. The Herald Post was big time supportive of boxing.
Right, and you know what? I guess a person that we lost to a columnist or a reporter was Bill Knight. He retired, and I remember he was the only one that used to report amateur boxing. And now, without him, I wonder what's going to happen.
I don't think there's very much laying around. Hey, I'm too old to get out there and promote it.
Well, moving forwards, what is the future of the El Paso Hall of Fame?
Well, I'm worried.
Okay, why are you worried?
Because a bunch of us good people started this back in the day, including bankers and lawyers and sheriffs, businessmen and policemen and average boxers and trainers. We did a fantastic thing by bringing a Hall of Fame to fruition. And to think now that I'm in my old age and I'm very sick, that someday I'm going to be gone. And I just cannot raise $25,000, $30,000 a year and spend, 4 or 5 hours a day on doing that job because it needs to be done right. The right awards, the right place, jackets, awards, rings, make people feel good about what they're getting, and have the cancer kids there too, and the women, boxers and of trainers, they are the ones that get together to make the awards and jackets and stuff for the kids with cancer. And Jake Martinez place, he owned a jacket place.
And also to say, folks, that the El Paso Boxing Hall of Fame does not have a building, does not have a place, does not have a home. Where is all the memorabilia? I'm assuming there's memorabilia.
Well, I'm not going to discuss that too deep because I did have a home. I did have a.
Oh, that's right. But now it doesn't have a home.
Yes. Because,
so where is all the memorabilia, Tom?
I'm not going to name names here, okay?
Oh no.
Because it hurts me. Because one of the people involved here is my closest friend since 1952 when I came back from California.
Okay, but what I mean is, where is the memorabilia? Is it is it in a storage set? Is it put away? Is it in safekeeping?
Well, the best memorabilia you have right now is my 60, 70 page magazines are right, okay, which hardly any Hall of Fame does. No, we had a Hall of Fame going in, but the owner, who was, I said, since 1952 we've been close like brothers. I'm not going to say names.
Okay.
We got people from Juarez. My wife's from Juarez originally. We got people from Juarez. Everybody. We cleaned the place up. We painted. Everything ready. We were moving in, putting everything in for the Hall of Fame. And what happened? I get a call one Sunday morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. Turn your keys in. You don't have a contract.
So where did you put the memorabilia?
In my home.
Okay, so you have it there. So I know we've been striving, and it'll be cool to have a little place.
Maybe I could put some stuff in here.
Well, you're more than welcome to put it here and display it. I mean, we would love to. I know I have like 3 trophies, but and again, we would love to have it here and again, look, Tom, whatever you need, we can help you and support you as far as the Hall of Fame. But what does the future hold for the Hall of Fame?
Well, don't forget this, because he got old too. Dr. Raul Rivera, who's one of our doctors for the boxers in the Hall of Fame, he has his own little Hall of Fame thing up in North Mesa, a big one, big open place. But I don't know what happened. Oh, he got sick. I haven't heard from him lately. I don't know if he got sick or what. I was hoping we'd join forces. I was hoping Dr. Raul Rivera and I would join forces, but it never happened. So somebody else may join with him and get this thing going again, because it's a miracle. It's a miracle Hall of Fame. It helps the children with cancer.
And then that's the key, man. Don't forget, it helps the kids with cancer. So, I mean, as we talk, Tom, it seems like things are phasing out. We're in trouble. The Hall of Fame's about to go. We lost one of our best sports writers, one of our best, in Bill Knight, as he retired already. I always used to see him at Golden Gloves. So, man, I mean, somebody needs to step up and get this show on the road. But Thomas, I mean, I know you have a plethora of information. You're an encyclopedia of boxing, of everybody that you've trained, that's been on the Hall of Fame, what you started. But I guess at the end, all guys, leaving our differences aside, it's about the kids. The last thing I'm going to ask you, and I think I've asked you already, and you said that they're both going to win this week in the Canelo-Jacob fight. Let's go to the live chat real quick. It says that they're asking you question for Tom. Who do you think is the greatest boxer of all time? This is from Mr. Silva and Hugo Macias.
Thank you, Mr. Macias. I don't think of any one boxer as a boxer all time. I think boxers of decades is what we should be looking at. If you go to the 1920s, 1930s, and you see Joe Louis, 1940s, you know at his day and time for 205 pounds, he was the greatest. Then you go to Rocky Marciano, somebody like that. And they're just great for their time. There's too many great boxers to name one as the greatest of all time. There's hundreds.
Do you have a favorite? Or all of them are your favorite?
Sugar Ray Robinson.
Sugar Ray is your favorite?
My favorite.
Oh, okay. What about...
He won 168 fights in a row.
100, it was 165.
Something like that. Yeah.
And now with the fighters now, do you have anybody that you like now?
Well, there's quite a few I like out there, and but to tell you the truth, I'm hoping that Louis Burke, because Louis Burke, has a great training facility in Las Cruces, and he's got Austin Trout.
And Austin Trout's getting ready for a fight.
Yeah, and I was hoping he'd win another world title, but I like to champion, if I can, locals, and see them build up and make.
Well, you're a true El Pasoan, Tom. That's why. That's good.
Make El Paso happy.
Herman Delgado said that Bill Knight was the best, and so was Matt Aguilar.
Oh,
I'm blessed for their tremendous support throughout my career. Tell me about Matt Aguilar. And you're right, Herman.
Well, Matt Aguilar wrote a great article on me about 2 years ago.
And he always writes articles, right? Does he live here in El Paso?
No, he's in
Chicago.
No, he's in Chicago Housing Authority. He's so busy. He only writes for the Sunday Times an article on boxing. I talk to him about every week.
What is his background? Was he a fighter here in El Paso?
No, but he loved boxing, and he's an athlete. He loved boxing, but he's in charge of one of the leaders of the Chicago Housing Authority now. So he doesn't have time. So he writes an article for the El Paso Times.
And I see it occasionally in big fights. I think he just wrote one last week.
Yeah. Matt Aguilar, he's just a tremendous person, but he's not in El Paso anymore.
He's not in El Paso. Is he an El Pasoan?
I miss him. No, he's in Chicago.
But is he an El Paso?
Yes, and I miss him.
Wow, yeah. And then Herman wrote right now that he was great, and he was one of the best. So we're losing people, and they're moving along. Do you think we have the right fortitude to go forward and replace people like yourself and Junior Vicencios and the Herman Delgados and the Rocky Galarza? His son Jojo Galarza trains here. I mean, how can we fill those shoes? And everything's possible.
I'll tell you, it's like I did. I came out of the orphanage home. Never dreamed I'd be a top 10 senior. I never dreamed I'd be a Hall of Famer. Only if Jennifer Hahn and myself have been inducted twice to the El Paso Boxing Hall of Fame. So I've had this fortunate good run, even with 20 years of chemotherapy and cancer. And I have a great family and great dancing and great boxers. And I love training. Who is going to be 85 years of old and moving around and training kids at my age, like my age? I hope you do. I hope some people carry on. But what I'm trying to do is stimulate other young people to become boxers and trainers and keep it going. And somebody be smart enough to get the Hall of Fame. I'll give the rights up to the Hall of Fame. I'd like to give it to you. I'd like to eventually give it to you.
To me?
Yes.
Well, and I know that's been talked around. I mean, and like I said, I would love to take over it.
Could I get back with you about June or July?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard it here, folks.
I'm very serious. We need to keep the Hall of Fame going. It's.
What do you guys think? I mean, I would like to take it. I mean, I know it's a lot of responsibility, some big shoes to fill, but I mean, we've been toying around with the idea of having it. I have a facility here, and I will make the best out of it. There's a lot of things, Tom, that a lot of things need revamping, and I'm not saying I'm the answer, but there's a lot of capable people out there as well, Tom, and I think it's going to be hard to fill your shoes. So yeah, I mean, we'll get back in July and talk. Tom, as we start to end our show here, any last words to the kids with cancer, the foundation, your Hall of Fame, and yourself, in brief abstract? Tell us a little bit to end the show. What do you, any last words?
In brief, I definitely want to thank my wife, Letitia McKay, for her support too with the Hall of Fames, and her loveliness and her credibility and her love for me, and hopefully I can make passage and give thanks not only to the Candelighters of El Paso, but to these great people. Pete Melendez, Jake Martinez, Banker Ted Houghton, Rick Reyna, Sammy and Rocky Burke, Vic Villarreal, Mike Andrade, Al Garcia, Alejandro Guerrero, Troy Dillon, Bob Azar, Ray Sanchez, Sammy Snyder, Jimmy Pascal, Michael Shern. Oh, Michael Shern, he was a good one. He gave us lots of money and helped us. Mario Vela, Gaudioso and Gary Ruby, Hector Duane, Santos Quijano, Attorney Steve Anderson, all the people I could keep naming brought us so much happiness, including Herman Delgado.
And so those were people who found, and anything else?
Gosh, just thank you for letting me be here. I'm sorry we had technical difficulties.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for that.
But by the same token, we might have to do it again sometime.
Yeah, we'll do it again. I mean, you have so much stuff to offer, and you know what? there's a lot of things happen behind the scenes, and
Absolutely.
and you know what? As long the duck can be paddling his feet 1,000 miles per hour underwater that you don't see, but as long as on top, if you see that duck just smooth sailing, everything's gonna be fine, and we get over it. We overcome, adapt, right? We adapt and overcome, and we move forward, and that's pretty much life. And you know what, Tom? I am going to tell you that if you have a contact at Candlelighters, I would love for some of my fighters here and Warriors Edge also to be part of making a difference in a kid's life that has a cancer, and at least visiting them on a Saturday, reading a book to them. If you can give us that contact number with Candlelighters, Warriors Edge would love to be associated with something like that, because those are the true champions. Those are the true people that are actually fighting a fight every days of their life. And like you said, why the kids? And it's hard, but you know what, Tom? Again, thank you for being here. It's been an honor. And I'll definitely do it again with you out here and talk more boxing with you, boxing shop with you. But it's been an honor, sir. Thank you so much, man.
I'm proud to have been here, and I hope I make a difference with somebody. But not only that, I hope people will use some of their time and effort to look back on the scene of boxing from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, up to date, and contribute to making the sport safer and better, and more, and most of all, more interesting. And same way with the martial arts. We have some fantastic people in El Paso and around the world, well known, and why not? Why not praise them instead of letting them sit down in gutters and perform in gutters? Let's put them in the right places, get the right people behind us, and do something. I'm in my 80s. I can only do so much. Are we off the air?
All right, so again, that has been our show, folks. Tom, thank you so much for everything. I know there's some technical difficulties, but yeah, thank you, Tom, for being with us. All those persons that you thanked, it's been an honor to have you here at Warriors Edge Boxing, folks. That has been a show. Again, I apologize for the technical difficulties. Have yourselves a good weekend. We'll see you soon.
Hallelujah.